What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Welcome to Jake Richardson's Coaching Corner. We are on season 2. This is episode 3. We're just going to dive right into it. Today is being risky versus being conservative. Me, when it comes to these two things, I think they are two things that you can't be 100% of either one. You have to have a little bit of risk with a little bit of conservativeness. You have to have a little bit of conservativeness with a little bit of risk at the same time. I think people that are risky 100% don't make it that long. People that are very conservative 100%, they live a very boring life to the point where what were you here for anyways? I think that they both, you gotta find a nice balance between the two. There are some people that are very risky, that's perfect, but make sure you have some conservativeness with you. There are some people that are very conservative, but every once in a while you gotta be a little risky to get to where you need to be. So I think to open this all up, this is a great topic to tackle. And if you're somebody that is teeter-tottering, or if you're somebody that's one more than the other, I hope that this episode helps you out to kind of balance and just be successful. I think that is a big part of it. If you're one of the other, you're not going to be as successful. If you're very risky, your longevity isn't going to be there. If you're very conservative, your longevity will be there, but you're not going to grow and become what you should become. So we're going to dive right into it. Which do you like more? I don't know if you can tell by the intro and me giving my pros and cons. I like risky more than I like conservative. Main reason why is bigger rewards. The more it's a super common thing is risk rewards. They all comes with it. I think that the higher the risk that you take when you are very successful, the higher the rewards that you'll end up getting in your job, in your love life, in your finances. There's so many categories that you could look at it that way. If you're extremely risky and you're successful, the rewards are endless. So being big rewards is a huge one. It's one of the main reasons why I've always been so risky. When it comes to playing football, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, when it comes to working for myself, when it comes to just everything I've ever done, I always look at the riskier side of things because you can get so much out of it. You can get a lot out of it in a quicker time, but what you have to do in this circumstance is you have to be very comfortable with both spectrums. So if you go for the very risky move and you get it, be very happy with it. If you go for the risky move and you fail, you also have to find some avenue of happiness with that as well. You can't sit there and doubt yourself, or you can't sit there and kick the shit out of yourself and change your scope. You as an individual should not change depending on the risk that you take and what happens with the risk that you take. You should always be the same, and you should always be very comfortable and very willing to accept either one. You should be very comfortable in accepting the rewards, and you should be very comfortable with accepting the failures within that. If you could do that, it's easy. Risky is not something that scares you. Risky is not something that intimidates you at all, and you're very much so ready for the rewards that come out of it. Number 2, adrenaline, the rush. There is so much of a rush when it comes to taking that risk and it working out successfully. I've been watching Shark Week recently, and those types of rushes seem great. Surfing, scuba diving, all that type of shit. As long as you are very comfortable with losing a hand, losing a foot, losing a leg, the magnitude or the actual, like that actually happening, very low. But there is a little bit of risk there. You're diving into the water where there are fucking fish that'll eat your ass. And that is risk. Minor risk because of the stats, but still risk within that. There's a rush, there's adrenaline that comes with it. Me, myself, playing football, boxing, work, A lot of things I do based on risk. The stock market, trading, investing, all these things. There's a lot of adrenaline that comes with it, and that is the excitement in which why we do it. So that's okay, as long as you can control the adrenaline. Like I said, there are highs and lows to everything. The high of when you're doing well, when you're being very successful, is a drug. You can get addicted to it. But if that low almost kills you because of the drop of adrenaline out of your body and how depressed you get, then high risk things aren't for you. You should be very even keeled emotionally when it comes to being very risky. If you're somebody that can't handle your emotions, or if you're somebody that you know yourself extremely well, if you cannot be even with the successes, with the failures, then don't be risky. Be a little more conservative. Number 3, curiosity. Curiosity will always make you slightly risky. You're always wondering about the unknown, the rock that is unturned, the grass that's greener on the other side. You're very curious with these things. Once again, don't let the curiosity kill the cat. That's why the fuck these phrases last thousands and thousands of years. Don't be too curious. Play a little bit, learn a little bit, and then grow. And then you play and learn a little bit with other things, and you grow from that. You play and learn with other things, and you grow from that. But don't constantly go back to the same well and make the same mistakes or take the same risks. Life is short. But at the same time, there's a lot of it when it comes to opportunities and risks. And there's so many things that you can be risky with. Don't keep doing the same things. If you're consistently risky with the same shit, eventually you will fail. In life, you cannot be successful at everything. The older and older we get, the slower we get, or our brains aren't firing off as fast, or our body's not moving the same exact way. So you need to know how to pivot your risks. Don't keep doing the same thing. Don't keep gambling. Don't keep playing with your body when it comes to not stretching and lifting super heavy, because eventually you'll end up hurting yourself. You might get that lift that day, but if you don't take care of yourself and you lift the next day, you'll hurt yourself. Gambling the same exact way. You might get a hot hand at the table one day. That doesn't mean go right back. That means take that money and pivot into something else, something a little bit less risky. Get in the stock market, get in the housing market, something like that. But don't go back to the same well over and over and over. It is okay to be curious. Curiosity is also great things that come out of curiosity. But like I said, learn how to pivot your curiosity, and that will help you go further and further and further. So those are 3 big things to me that are why I like risky and why I lean more towards risky. What's the definition of risky? Definitions are always great to know the breakdown in where it comes from. The definition of risky is a situation involving exposure to danger. That definition right there could sound very scary to some people and very enticing to others. Me, nobody ever likes to hear the danger part, but it is enticing. It lets you know that you're alive. If you have full confidence in yourself and you believe that you will be okay, then go for it. Then go that dangerous terrain or go to that dangerous decision, because you know more often than not that you'll make it through. If you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself or you don't think you're going to make it, don't do it. That's always my big rule of thumb. Everybody has shaky shit that they don't believe in themselves in. And if you're not 100% confident, or at least you're not 90% confident, do not fucking do it. But that is the definition. The definition is very scary to begin with when you think of risk. Always, when you're looking up words, or if you're into trying something, look the fucking definition up first. And then read the definition and then see if that doesn't scare you. If that doesn't scare you, keep doing it. If the definition scares you, slow down a little bit and try to pivot somewhere else. What areas should you take risk in? Your career. The time goes by too fucking fast. You will blink and you will be 2 years into a new career. You'll be 5 years into your career. You'll be 10 years into your career. Then you'll blink and they'll be fucking wheeling a cake out and they'll be singing your fucking retirement song, and you're gonna be sitting on a rocking chair blinking, what the fuck happened to my life? If you're not taking risks in your career, then you are not going to end up being where you want to be. Your career is yours. If you're not happy, pivot. Don't allow excuses, and they're all excuses. My kids, you could use your kids as an excuse. My finances, my mortgage, my rent. You can use any of these things as excuses. And most people are going to think I'm harsh, but it's just honest. If you really bust your fucking ass and pivot and hustle and really try to find ways to stretch out these different avenues of income that you can potentially pull in, you want to stress about these things. But so many people are so secure with their 401ks, they're so secure with their health insurance, they're so secure because if you wake the fuck up, these companies give you these things on purpose because they know they don't want you to be financially free. They want you to depend on them. And the more and more and the longer and longer that you work for them, the more dependent that you come. And the more independent you're very dependent on them, and you end up not being dependent on yourself. You don't know how to be dependent on yourself because you haven't been making yourself money this whole time. This company has been giving you tasks and they have been giving you money, and you start telling yourself that in your head, and you never branch out, you never grow. And I think at any stage you could take your career back and you can start taking risks with that, and you can start flourishing. Calculated risks are great with your career. I'm not saying fucking quit and then try to figure out what you're doing. Stack your decisions, stack your ideas up, start slowly implementing them, and then once you get to a certain point, you could quit your job, or you could find a better job that suits your skills better, piggyback this job that you have now into that job. So career-wise, I think you should take big risks at any stage, at any time. Because if you really have worked on your family and you have love and you have everything that you need, it doesn't matter if you guys are living in a fucking mansion or a cardboard box. Because I've been in that situation. My family and I have lived in a lot of different avenues. Never super rich, never the mansion, but we lived very middle class. But then we lived poor, no class. And at the same time, the one thing that we always had is love, and we always cared about each other. And those moments and those struggles create this strong bond between us, so no matter where we're at, we love each other to death. And I don't think that you should use your family as a crutch to why you can't make those decisions and you can't risk your career. Because if you have love, you have all that money, doesn't mean shit. Number 2, I think that something that's great when it comes to taking risk, or like an area that you should take risk in, is finance. Money is fucking money. We put so much strength and we put so much pressure on money, but money is man-made. We created money. We created the idea of trade and money as the currency to use the trade. Money is not the end-all be-all. It is an engine. You take money and you put it into things to either get things or to have those things make you money. Money is not the end game. It's the middle. It's you, money, and then the things that you get with it. The things that you get with it is the end if it's just a regular purchase. Or if it's an asset purchase where like house, laundromat, stock, things that you put your money out there, your money works for you, and then your money brings you money back. And that's the fucking whole idea. That's like the American dream right there. So I think that your finances or your finance should be a huge place where you take risks in. Because like I said, as long as the risk doesn't mean that you're putting your life on the line, your life is the most important thing that you'll ever have. Your life is invaluable. It's the greatest thing that you'll ever be given. It's the greatest thing that you'll ever have. Money is not one of those things. Items are not those things. So it is okay to take risks and gambles with those things. It's not okay to take risks and gambles with your life, with your health, those types of shit. So when it comes to money, like I said, make it work for you. I was taught to hold on to money, to just add it up, put it under your bed, put it in a box, and just leave it there. Then later in life, I was taught that you need to invest money. If you want to get out of the rigmarole of just being a 9 to 5 motherfucker and you want to make real dough to where you can just have financial freedom, money is not the goal. If people are telling you money's the goal, they're fucking stupid. Financial freedom is the goal. Meaning, how do I separate myself from money, from this rat race? Because everybody's in this rat race. Everybody's trying to jump and grab and do whatever it takes to get dollars. How do I get above that? And that's financial freedom. So you should be taking your money and risking it for financial freedom. And just know that you've worked on your family. You worked on the values of your family to where none of it fucking matters. Money doesn't matter as long as you guys can stay healthy, as long as you guys have each other. Those things fucking matter. And then the last thing, the third thing that you should really go when it comes to risk are your passions. Our passions are on the shortest fuse and the fuses that end up leading to us towards the end of us. And passions are short as shit. You only have such a small window to try your passions because after that, so many things cloud or get in the way. Getting married, having kids, creating financial freedom, trying to retire and leave a legacy behind, or leave a legacy for the next generation so they can have financial freedom and it's an easier path for them. Those things will start getting in your way of your passions. So if you have an opportunity, risk your passions. Risk going for your passions. And if you don't make it, what I tell everybody is when you're reaching for a dream, which is a passion, you might not make it to the top and be exactly where you want to be, but you'll be at a better position wherever you end up than where you started. So go for your passions. You'll find things in between that will make you a better person, that will make you more financially free. You'll just be in a better position than you were to begin with. So risk your passions, exhaust them as much as you possibly can. And you'll, like I said, those 3 categories I am very strong about. Your career, your finances, your passions. Risk them. Like I said, they're not a part of you. They're not your life. They're not the people that you care about. Those are things that are very free to play with, and you'll be fine if you play with them. Trust me, motherfuckers are listening to this and being like, yeah, it's not that easy. Well, it's not that easy because you don't make it that fucking easy. Because you keep telling yourself all these reasons why not, when you should be actually looking for reasons why. Anytime somebody tells you it's not that easy, it's because they live in a mindset where they're constantly going against what they feel, like constantly going against what they think. And then start just listening to other people. Well, you shouldn't take risks because your financials, and you shouldn't take risks because your family. You shouldn't take. They put these things in front of you so you believe that. Fuck that shit. If you work the right way and you work smart, you can take risks in those areas, and the real things will be absolutely fine. Yourself, your family, that shit. What's the downfall of risk? I like to play devil's advocate all the time, even though I'm very high on risk. There are downfalls to it, and if you're somebody that is not ready for these downfalls, then you shouldn't be taking big risks. The first one is you lose big. If you listen to a lot of financial gurus, they have all lost big at a certain point in time. Some of them have gone flat fucking broke to the point where they've lost it all. They've almost been killed because they owe the wrong money to the wrong person, or a list of things, a list of horrible things. But a lot of them actually lose big. And the reason why they win is because they don't stop at losing big. They keep finding a way to make it happen. They don't believe that this is it, and they make it happen. There are great stories about that, but there are horrible stories about that at the same time. So losing big is a huge one. I hope that nobody does lose big. If you're somebody that has good intention and you're a good person, I hope you don't lose all. I hope you don't lose big. But make sure, like I said, along the way, you're covering your tracks. You're checking the boxes. Don't try to jump too big, too fast if you're not willing to lose it all. If you're somebody that's absolutely fine with losing it all because you know that you can make it back, then go for it. But if you're somebody that's very worried about losing it all and you don't want to lose big, risky's not your thing. Maybe conservative is a little bit more your thing, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer to being one or the other. Injury. Injury is huge. You and your health are the one thing I don't believe that you should risk. And if you're getting injured, if you're hurting yourself, then you start affecting the things that really matter. You start affecting yourself, your mental, your health. You start affecting the people around you, the people that love you, because all they want to do is see you healthy. These are things that you cannot risk. You need to make sure that it's calculated. If you're going to go to the gym and bench press 300 pounds, you better have been fucking bench pressing 280 for reps way before you try 300. Build your body up to it. But if you're doing 135 and you're like, I'm going to try 300 today with no spot, and you drop the weight on your chest or on your neck and you hurt yourself, then you're going to look like an idiot, and your fucking family is the ones that have to pay for that. So don't risk your health. Your health is huge. And so it's the most valuable thing that you have that people take for granted all day. Not to dive into it because I'm not really into all that shit, but even with COVID, people want to sit there and complain and demonize and do all these things, but they're also unhealthy, they're fat, they have all these symptoms that they actually control, but they find every excuse why not to. They want to tell you, who is a healthy human being, that you have to do X, Y, and Z. But nobody tells them. I've yet to see a commercial that says, hey, you want to help against COVID? Get your big fat fucking ass up and go run. Hey, instead of eating a Big Mac, go drink a smoothie. Go work on your immune health, because that's what you should be doing at all times. The healthier that you are, the healthier people are going to be around you, because nobody wants to be the solo fat ass around a whole bunch of healthy people. But if we're all a bunch of fat asses, then it's socially normal and it's okay. And then big corporations make millions and millions of dollars. But what the fuck do I know? That's not what I'm trying to talk to you guys about, because I'm not trying to get my fucking new podcast that hasn't even really taken off yet already knocked off because I'm talking about this conspiracy shit. But I will say that focus on your health. Your health is the most important thing that you have. We're running around trying to find money and find love and find all these things, but we forget to work on ourselves and we forget to work on health. If you're healthy, if you're happy, you will find money, you will find love, you'll find all these amazing things, because it starts with you first. If you love yourself, if you have value within yourself, you'll project that and you'll get great things out of it. Then the last thing is shattered relationships. That is one thing that you will find when you take too many risks. There is a time where you need to know how to throttle down and then speed back up. Risk and being a risky person isn't a 100-mile-an-hour sprint in one direction. You need to know how to change the gears. Go 100, then cruise at 20. Then speed it up to 50, then throttle it down to 30. Because if you don't, you're going to hurt a lot of people along the way, because a lot of people can't keep up with that speed. Nobody can keep up with 100 miles an hour. Even Usain Bolt walks more often than he sprints. He only sprints when the fucking time comes, when he needs to show up. So for you, it's the same thing with risk. You don't have to take risk all the time. You take risk when you know the opportunity is right. You've done it enough times to know when it's right and when it's not right. So you only take it when the moment presents itself and you smack a home run. But if you don't do that, you're going to hurt a lot of people. You're going to burn a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to like you along the way. And that will reverberate through the rest of your life. Because when you are down on your luck, the people that really care about you are the ones that pick you up. If you burn all those bridges and you're down on your luck, nobody's going to pick you up. When nobody picks you up, that's how you fall into the deep, dark hole and you never pull yourself out. So make sure you're not shattering relationships at the same time while making these risks. What stage should you take risks? In my opinion, 0 to 40. Constant babies and kids take risks all day, every day. Teenagers to 20-year-olds start taking massive risks. 30 and 40-year-olds, you start kind of honing in your risk, and you know which ones to take, which ones not to take, and which ones are going to put you in a better position. So I think 0 to 40 is a great age and stage to take as many risks as possible and try to be as successful as you can up until that 40-year-old point. I mean, and you could take them after, don't get me wrong, that's just my personal opinion. 0 to 40 seems like a great time. When you don't have a lot of baggage either. The more and more baggage that you have, marriage, kids, responsibilities, elderly people relying on you, the more you got to think about those risks that you're taking. And then you got to hesitate. And then sometimes you make fucked up ones because you should have took it at this time. You didn't take it at this time. Then you take it later. And later's not the time. It was that past time that you should have taken it. And now it's gone. And that's something I think people need to perfect too, is understanding opportunities will come by again. Maybe not that specific one, but there will be one similar to that, and just wait for them. Don't try to push. Don't try to rush risk. Because if you rush risk is gonna kick the dog shit out of you. And then when you're uncomfortable is the best time to take risk because you're the most hungry. When you are the most hungry, if you will do whatever the fuck it takes to eat. You will do whatever it takes not to starve. When you are extremely hungry, when you're extremely uncomfortable, you will do the things that need to get done to be successful. So I really believe that last one should hit you the hardest. If you're extremely comfortable, scary time to take risks. When you're uncomfortable and when you need to make it happen, more often than not, you end up making it happen, and you will make it happen. So I think that third one is powerful. When you're uncomfortable, don't be sitting on your fucking ass. Don't be lazy. I think you need to get up and need to go get it, because ain't nobody gonna get it for you. Then, the last one. I think you should take risks in degrees. Like I was saying before. Not 100 miles an hour all the time. Sometimes you take 20 mile an hour risk. Sometimes you take 1,000 mile an hour risk. But take it in degrees and understand that not all of them need the same passion. Some you can be a little more relaxed with. Some you can be a little bit lighter with. Some you need to be a little stronger with. Like I said, when you're in that uncomfortable, hungry stage, that's the strong one. That's when you're going. When you're from that, whatever you got from there, you can kind of get a little bit even. Then you can start taking skilled risk. And then from there, the more and more money you make, the less and less pressure you have. And that's when you need to throttle it down, because you're not as hungry anymore. So you need to just take very minor risks. Make sure you're leveling out. Make sure you're making the money that you need to make to get above and get into that financial freedom side. And those are the 4 things to me that I think are the best when it comes to what stage you should be in to take risks. Now, let's dive into conservativeness. Definition of conservative: adverse to change or innovation and holding traditional values. That is a very scary definition. To me, that definition scares the shit out of me, because it tells me that if you're conservative, you don't fuck with change and you don't fuck with innovation. The world is constantly changing and the world is constantly innovating. And if you're somebody that is against that, then you're going to find yourself left in the dust. And money usually follows change, and money usually follows innovation. So if you're being left in the dust, that means you're broke as fuck in the dust as well. So with that definition being said, you can see why I don't really lean towards conservativeness, because financial freedom isn't in the dust. Financial freedom isn't where money isn't. Financial freedom is trend setting, going forward, and going where the money is going. And for me, like I said, I say money a lot, but I could give a fuck about money. Money, I'm really not a big fan of. Money, I'm really not crazy about, but I am crazy what's connected to money, which is financial freedom. Because what financial freedom gives you is really what's behind the curtain of money, which is time. Money dictates our time all day, every day. How much we have to work, how much things cost, what we have to do to get that money to pay for the cost. It's an effervescent rat wheel and hamster wheel. And for me, what's behind all that is time. And time is the big thing that I want back. And time is the main reason why I do all these things. Because if I can get money, that means I can get time at the same time. And financial freedom is really time. So you should really focus and breathe that all the way in. And get away from this conservative mindset and lifestyle. Because that definition still, right now, as we're talking, scares the dog shit out of me. When it doesn't like change and it doesn't like innovation. What areas should you be conservative in? Because like I said, you can't be, even if you don't like the definition, even if you don't like conservativeness, You cannot be 100% risk because you will not survive. You won't live long enough if you're 100% risk all the time. So what areas do I think you should be conservative in? Family. Family is the most important. Besides you and yourself, your own health and your well-being, your family is the second most important thing on your brain, on your mind at all times. And you cannot be risky with them. You cannot handle them the same way that you handle your finances and you handle your career and you handle your passions. They are above that. They are the end all be all. And you need to be very delicate and very fragile with them. And you can't change or you can't innovate without them. If you can change and innovate, but it has to be with them, connected, on the same page, going in the same direction. Because if you're changing and innovating without them, you'll lose them. Because they don't know who the fuck you are. They don't know what the fuck you're doing. So you guys need to be very connected and very in tune as you change and innovate together. And that's how I feel when it comes to the first one, which is being family. I think family is strong and you shouldn't play with it. Number 2, we talked about it, which is really the main one, is your health. Because if you're not healthy, if you're not okay, if you're not changing and innovating and growing, how do you expect your family to? Because you're not leading by example. You should always be trying to lead by example. No matter if you're the head of the household or you're the youngest kid in the family. Lead by example. Have people follow and roll with you. And you guys will be fucking great. You'll be the most strengthened, bonded family on the planet. Like I said earlier, I don't come from dough. I didn't come from crazy money. We came from fucking little to no money. But I will put my family's bond and my family's strength against any family on the fucking planet. I love all my siblings. I love my parents. I love everybody in my family. My girl, her family. We're all connected. We're so strong that nothing can fuck with us. And I can feel that way at the age of 33, and I'm gonna feel that way at the age of fucking 93. That nobody's fucking with us because we build from the inside out, and money ain't shit to us. And that's why I think family and your health are huge. And those are the two. There's nothing else connected to that. When it comes to the things that you should be conservative with and the things that you should really hold dear to you are family and health. Because the definition of conservativeness is scary, but when you start really thinking about it, you shouldn't be innovating. You shouldn't be changing too much the things you care the most about, which is your family, which is your health. Like I said, if you are doing it, you're all doing it together. But if you're not doing it together, then it doesn't need to be done. You could take risk with the superficial front end stuff, but the back end stuff, take little risks on. What's the downfall of conservativeness? I feel like the downfall is you end up being too safe. You're playing life too safe, and you don't fully live. There's multiple parts of your life. There's a whole bunch of different categories in life. And they all connect towards each other. The front end, like I said, is the career, the passions, that shit. And then all that shit, that energy piles over into the conservative shit that you can't let go of, which is your health and your family. But they all coincide. They all smash together. They're all intertwined because your life doesn't just happen in segments. You don't just work and then turn your brain off and forget what happened at work because that's work, and then go into life, and then go into life, and then once life's done, or your regular life's done, career starts, you turn your brain off. No, you remember all of the hours that you're awake, you remember everything, and they all smash together. So they all have to kind of connect a little bit. But if you play too safe, you won't fully live. So you have to learn how to get these two lives together and take a little bit of risk on one side, a little bit conservative on the other side. Then you take the other life, a little bit conservative on one side, a little bit of risk on the other side, and you make them fun, and you make them great, and you make you are only on this life in such a short period of time. Make sure people remember you as fun, and you like to take risks, and you're very confident within yourself, and you're doing that. So I think that playing too safe is the worst thing you possibly do. And then the reason why that is it more often than not, you don't reach your fullest potential. So if you're playing it too safe, you won't reach your full potential. You won't be the person that everybody wants you to be, or you even thought that you could be, because you're holding yourself all the way fucked back because you're so worried. Conservative, I'm so worried about change. I'm so worried about innovation. I don't want people to think that I'm outside of who Jake is. Fuck that shit. Jake himself is constantly changing, constantly innovating in the positive. People forget innovation and change can go negative and it can go positive. You have an option. I choose positive, so I'm gonna constantly get better and then bring the people I care about with me to get better. And the ones that do decide to get better, we're all living a great life and we're all going in the right path. So don't get too scared. Make sure that you're living your fullest potential. What stage should you be a little more conservative? I would say 50 to 80 or 50 to whenever the fuck you think you're going to die, because you're not working as much. All that energy isn't there anymore. You need to make sure all that energy that you had in the beginning made you some money. So you're doing your thing later in life. You've created financial freedom. So you don't have to worry about finances no more. You have to worry about your family and if they're doing okay. You have covered that from 0 to 40. After that, it's completely up to you to coast or to keep working or to keep stressing or keep busting your ass. More responsibility. Which stage should you be conservative? The more responsibility that you have. When there's kids, family, all this type of shit. Calm it down a little bit. Because now people are going to either reap the rewards or have to eat the failure that you decide to make. And like I said, if you're a family that's secure and doesn't care about what financial status you're in or what schools you go to or if your kids got the same matching shoes or whatever the fuck, then you'll be fine. But if you're not okay with that, then you need to be a little more conservative because of your responsibilities. And then when you're comfortable, like I said earlier, when you're uncomfortable, it's great to make crazy fucking risk and get the rewards out of them. But when you're comfortable, bad things happen. Hey, look at fighting within itself. Look at every hungry fighter that's broke and down on their fucking ass. And then they become successful and they become super rich. And then watch all the losses start piling up. Because you cannot emulate that hunger. You cannot emulate that risk. It is just a knee-jerk fucking reaction that gets pulled out of you. You can't mimic it. And when you start getting comfortable, you gotta be a little more conservative because you're not that guy anymore. You could give all your money away and you could start all over again and hopefully you make the right decisions. But most of the time, like I said, you won't get those same opportunities. You'll just get different opportunities, and you can try to piggyback off that, but you're probably not going to make that huge lump sum of money that you made the first time, and you shouldn't be chasing that anymore. You're satisfied. You're fucking full. You don't need to be hungry no more. And now it's time for the next person, because if you're hogging up all the hungriness, nobody else is going to be able to fucking get their own food, because there's no more food to eat, because you were selfish and grabbed it all. So allow other people to find their way. And with that being said, we are at the end of this episode. I hope that it helped you out. I hope that you can kind of find a way to mesh riskiness and conservativeness together, because I don't think there's one or the other. Some of these podcasts I have, I'm very much one or the other. This one is a mix of the two. If you can mix the two together correctly, then you'll be extremely successful and you'll just do fucking fantastic. And that's what I want you to do. If you're listening to this and you're a fucking fan, all I want you to do is do fantastic, because that's all I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to spread and push the positivity forward so you do amazing things, so you get out of your comfort zone, so you take a little more risk and you become extremely successful. With that being said, thank you guys very much for listening. I hope you tune into the next episode. If you like this one, leave some comments. Go listen to it. Go thumbs up it. Do whatever the fuck you gotta do. But mainly, take some risks. Get out of here. Get a hold of a family member. Tell them that you love them. Enjoy life. Peace.